Hey guys, my name is Shayla. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, we talk about motherhood, we talk about pregnancy, we do things pretty granola, pretty hippie, cloth diapering, elimination communication, lots of Montessori stuff, baby led weaning, that sort of vibe. If you're into it, please subscribe. It's not perfect, it's a little messy, it's just kind of like the journey and telling you what I'm learning along the way. I also share a lot on Instagram and stories and reels. I just started a podcast this year. All of it is Hey Shayla. The podcast is incredible because I used to be a full-time traveler and I miss just like talking to new people, learning new things, and so I get to do that with the podcast. I'll reach out to experts and they're like, sure, I'll be on your podcast. You will? So I've had some really awesome guests talking about teaching your kids sign language, hormones during pregnancy and afterward, people's natural birth stories, and just like all sorts of really interesting things. I have a 19-month-old and I am 23 weeks pregnant with the second baby. You can hardly see. I can't get this belly up any higher. I just did a video about how to survive the first trimester with a toddler because holy crap, that was a doozy, but we got through it. This video is about things that I'm going to do exactly the same with baby number 2, and I'm gonna say that knowing that I'm like, oh, this is what we're gonna do, and baby number 2 is gonna be like, no, we're not. Okay, so these are the things that I plan on doing, and we'll just see how it goes. I did a video about the things that I'll change, so that you can find, I don't know, here. But this one's about all the things that I'll do the same, because believe it or not, there are quite a few things that I will do the same because I did a lot of research. I'm glad I did all that ahead of time, so now this time I can just be like smooth sailing. Some of these things are companies that I work with and then I'm an ambassador for, and then I have affiliate links for, and then I have discount codes for. A lot of them will be linked below. Because I actually use all of these things, if you have a question about it, just DM me on Instagram and I'll do my best to answer. Otherwise, let's get started. Thing number 1 that I will do exactly the same is called Hypnobabies. It's hypnobirthing. And essentially what it is training your body to just get out of your own head, relax, and let your body do its thing and get this baby out. You have to start practicing. I can't remember, 32 weeks or 36 weeks. I have a whole video talking about the Hypnobabies course and then the tracks and like what it all is exactly. The course goes through different parts of labor and what can happen, which is so helpful because it helps you to feel empowered. So I know people who have done Hypnobabies and ended up having a C-section and they're like, I was so content with the C-section. I wasn't like stressed because I knew all the things that were going on along the way. I would highly recommend, let's see, do I have it? Anime's Guide to Childbirth. It's amazing. It basically tells you what your body does during labor. The first half is all positive labor stories just to get your head right. She talks about how women have had babies in comas and you just literally have to let your body do its thing. People get really upset when I say that. So there's obviously things that can happen that are out of your control, and thank God we have doctors who can perform cesareans or do different things. But in a typical healthy pregnancy, a lot of the pain comes from fear. So your fear turns on because you're afraid, then your cervix closes, but your uterus is pushing the baby out, which causes a lot of pain, where if you can just relax, let your cervix open, your uterus will push your baby out. Obviously, there'll still be some pain. Your uterus does 90% of the work. So that's one thing that I actually said that I was gonna do differently, is I wasn't gonna do the purple push. So I wasn't gonna just like bear down and try and push this baby out. I was just gonna let my body, I was gonna assist, but like let the uterus do it, the thing. Hypnobabies. The course talks about all the things that can happen, and then the tracks, I'm getting winded, I'm getting excited. I like forgot how much I enjoy this stuff. The tracks you practice during pregnancy to just relax, and you practice just turning off all your muscles so that when the contraction happens, it waves over you and then goes away. It's pretty awesome. I did it with Aaliyah and I loved it. I don't know how I'm gonna practice with a toddler. I'm thinking maybe just an earbud during nap time, but I'll figure that out. I have an affiliate link for the course that I took specifically with Hypnobabies below. Probiotics during pregnancy is so helpful. I have a video where I go through all of the nerdy things about how probiotics can help your gut because all of your organs are being squished and things can get real slow, like constipation, or real fast, like diarrhea. So this kind of just like helps to keep things normal. It can help to have you get a negative on your strep B At week 36, you do a strep B test. I call it a booty swab test because that's what it is. Two things with that. First thing, if you are positive, then they put you on antibiotics during your labor, which is not a great way to come into the world, like completely stripped of all of the bacteria in your body. Second thing, if you do test positive, you can request to get retested before you go into labor so that you don't have that. If you do have that, it is what it is. Start taking probiotics now. Start taking them afterwards. There's a prenatal probiotic that you take in addition to your prenatals, and then there's a postnatal that you take after the baby's born. Hey Shayla gets you 15% off. Breastfeeding. This is a rosy retrospect thing because probably 3 or 4 months ago, I was like, this next baby is going to take a bottle. Then I have been with some friends who give their babies bottles, and I'm like, that's a lot of work. But it's also a lot of work to not be able to leave your baby for more than 3 hours at a time. So we are gonna try and give this baby a bottle. I used the Haka, I never used an electric pump, and I would just use the Haka while I was nursing, and that actually created an oversupply for me. So that was not great. I had to eventually block feed, so like feed for 4 hours on this boob and 4 hours on this boob to kind of decrease my supply because she was getting a lot of fore milk instead of a mix of fore and hind milk. I just did a podcast with a friend of mine, Natalie, who talked about how to establish your supply. When your baby's born, they will lose weight and then they'll slowly gain it back. That's a very normal thing. The more you breastfeed them, the better your supply comes in. She says try not to introduce a NUC or a bottle in the first couple of weeks or a pump because all of those things can decrease and increase supply. So just like rely on you and baby exclusively. When I gave birth, the nurse looked at me and she's like, if you want to breastfeed, don't stop for the first 2 weeks because those are the hardest. If you can get through that, you should be able to get through it. Oh, also, if you're planning on breastfeeding, please talk to a lactation consultant. They literally can make or break your entire breastfeeding journey. If you are having trouble, go find one. One thing that we did when Aaliyah was born that I am 1000% doing this time is we ordered a meal service. So I've done all sorts. I've done Daily Harvest, Butcher Box, Green Chef, Purple Carrot. Highly recommend. And don't get the ones that you have to prep the meals. Just get the ones that you have to warm up for like the first 2 or 3 months. For us, it saved us money because we spend a stupid amount to buy groceries. Honestly, because I think I do a really bad job buying groceries. I think I just buy a lot of snacks and not a lot of meals. So this like gave me a meal that I could just warm up, good to go, boom. Because man, you need one less thing to worry about. Feeding yourself is hard. I also, through pregnancy and postpartum, did a workout guide called Expecting and Empowered. I am an ambassador for them. It's made by a nurse and a physical therapist, a woman's health physical therapist. So the workouts are appropriate for each trimester that you're in. Plus it works on pelvic floor. And so I swear, I push for 25 minutes. And I swear it's because I was working my pelvic floor through the whole thing. And then postpartum, they help you with pelvic floor recovery. I haven't done this, but I would also recommend going to see a women's health physical therapist because in a lot of other countries, that's the norm. They like have postpartum doulas, they have night nurses, they have women's health physical therapists. Another thing that I will do from the start, Aaliyah didn't like the Mamaroo, so we didn't even deal with that. She enjoyed the swing and we did that when we were working out, but otherwise she was on the floor. She was on the floor as much as possible. When I was in the shower, I had this like co-sleeper that I would put her in so she could be on the floor on her back, on her tummy, so she could roll over. She was on the floor, not contained as much as possible. I know some babies have reflux or colic and they don't like tummy time, but just being unrestricted on the floor is huge for their development. I didn't use mittens on her. I used a nail buff to do her fingernails and that helped a lot because I wanted her to feel her face. And if she scratched herself, fine. But I didn't want her to not be able to feel things with her hands. Like a lot of times had her naked so that she could move around as much as she wanted so that she could feel things. I was just trying to get her all the senses activated, I guess. We also did a Lovevery subscription. I love the Lovevery subscription. It is such a fun thing. When they're little, it's just black and white photos that they can like stare at. She engaged with all of this stuff. And then as they get bigger, it's toys that they like learn how to do things. And it's the coolest to watch her like put a puzzle together or thread blocks. And I just think it's a cool way to play with them. And you can just watch their brain working and you try and teach them something and they don't get it for like a month or two and then all of a sudden they get it and they just want to do it all the time. And I don't know. I really love the Lovevery, and the toys are quality. I keep the boxes, so when the next box comes, I put all the stuff in that box and just put it in storage. And then you rotate toys too. So you pull out the old toys, even if they're from 3 months and now they're a year old. They play with it differently, and they're such good quality toys. They're non-toxic, but they last. Like, I will no problem use these with baby number 2 because they're still like in great shape. We have the California Beach Co. I'm an ambassador now, but I bought it initially. It goes down in seconds and up in seconds. Like, it literally is, and it's super lightweight, so you can travel with it. You can do all these. It's the best playpen. With Aaliyah, we used it to contain her so that she couldn't like crawl all over the place if I needed to like make dinner or something. With this baby, I'm not going to use it so much to like contain them. I mean, eventually that will help, but I'm going to use it to protect them from the toddler. Or if you have dogs or something, it's for the beach, it's for the park, we would put it up in our living room, and it was perfect. Hey Shayla gets you an additional 10% off whatever sale they have going on. I would recommend getting the mattress. People always ask me that. So that's like the tent, and then there's a blow-up mattress that you can get. Get the blow-up mattress. You don't need the cover if you're trying to save money. But the mattress is a little bit of padding, because otherwise it's just on the floor. And it's just like tent material, so I would get the mattress. As far as sleep goes, with Aaliyah, we did a floor bed because she hated the crib. Her feet would get stuck in the slots. I learned about the floor bed with Montessori. It helps them to develop their spatial awareness. It helps them to give them the independence. You do have to baby-proof the whole room. We're gonna do the same thing with this baby. Before they're mobile, it's super simple. You lay them down, they sleep, they wake up, it's done. You can side nurse them to sleep, which is super nice. We're also probably going to co-sleep. It'll be more interesting because we'll have 4 in the bed instead of just 3. I'm going to try and have like a side sleeper. Aaliyah hated the halo. I want one that like the bed kind of goes right into their sleeper so that they're basically right there. They're not in something else. That's just going to depend on the baby. I have co-sleeping friends who are like, my second baby wanted nothing to do with sleeping in the bed with us. They wanted to be by themselves. But if this baby wants to sleep in the bed, I love co-sleeping. I think it's the greatest thing ever. So we will do that again. So we'll also do cloth diapering and elimination communication. I have newborn cloth diapers that I borrowed from a friend. I was too afraid to start them at the time because it was way too overwhelming. But because I've already done it with Aaliyah, I might just put this baby in the newborn ones, because newborns, you don't have to wipe out the poo. It just is water soluble. So it just dissolves in the water and goes away. So easy to clean. It's so hard for me because a typical disposable diaper takes like 400 years to decompose. We're also gonna try and have Aaliyah potty trained because we've been doing elimination communication with her since the beginning. Let's see, I have a book for that too. It's called Go Diaper Free. She has been on my podcast, so check that out. Or she will be on my podcast. This will come out before the podcast. But it just talks about potty training your baby from the day they're born, because babies don't like sitting in their poo, but they kind of get used to it because that's what we put them in. I like it because it gets Aaliyah used to the potty. We're using these like tiny undies, which are padded underwear, so if she pees, it kind of stays contained. It's not waterproof, but it soaks it up more than just like a piece of material. We started elimination communication with Aaliyah when she was 4 months old during the 4-month sleep regression and was like, no. So we restarted at 6 months and we've been doing it ever since, and it's been great. It's work. Oh, and with this, I also have a discount code HEYSHAYLA on their website. I have been going to the chiropractor through my pregnancy and will continue to go postpartum, and I also bring Aaliyah. Especially right after birth, baby comes through the birth canal all jacked up. You get a little bit jacked up with the baby coming out. Your body is moving a ton during pregnancy, so just to continue to get aligned during pregnancy, postpartum was huge for me, and then I like having babies get adjusted. We don't have them adjust how they adjust adults. They use like an activator and click things back in. Eventually, you do baby led weaning, which is how you feed them. With Aaliyah, we were absolutely terrified to do it. Yeah, absolutely terrified. I took a course called My Little Eater, and that helped you to kind of like know what things were okay to feed them at what stage, because when they're really little, you give them big things that they can hang on to and kind of gnaw on, and then as they get older, it changes. So it kind of walks you through that process. It suggests different high chairs to use, but baby-led weaning scared the shit out of me when we started. I was just like, she's gonna choke on everything. And so now that I feel more comfortable like seeing how babies do, those are the things and there might be some other ones, but those are the ones I remember, that I will be doing the same for baby number 2, I think. Who knows? Wish me luck. Thanks for watching.